the city that you're from. Let me know. Give me your name. Put your hashtag B1 also in the chat to let us know that you're Black first. On this platform, you got to be Black first. You got to want to be intelligent because we want to make our people better. Today, I have the honor of speaking with a real special guest, a real cool brother that I've known about and that I got a chance to meet not too long ago. He goes by the name of the Wall Street Trapper. Now, his first name, I know your name is Leon. I don't remember the last part. What's the last name?
Leon Howard.
Leon Howard, a.k.a. the Wall Street Trapper. So first of all, I want to get started and ask my brother, how you doing today, man?
Man, I'm blessed. Listen, every day is a blessing. Every time we wake up, every time I put these 10 toes to the ground, I know I got another opportunity, to make this day great. And then not only that, but just add on to the value and the impact and just also add on to my family legacy. So I'm blessed. It's a blessing to be here.
All right. Well, I'm glad you're here, man. So everybody that's in here, greet my brother, the Wall Street Trapper. Today, we're going to talk about a little bit of everything. We're going to have a free-flowing conversation. I have no idea which direction the conversation will go. But you know what? It's our platform, so we're going to talk about whatever the hell we want. Right. And so let's just jump right in. So first of all, everybody in the chat, give me a yes or no in the chat if you are a stock market investor. I believe everybody, I hope that all of you are stock market investors. If you are not invested in the stock market, I would like for you to say that you're going to do that today. So either I want you to give me a yes that you are, or a I will, meaning that you promise me that today you will download some app and buy your first share of stock. Even if you buy $5 worth of stock, we need all of our people to get started. We need all of our people moving. Wealth is going to come from us. Our reparations will come from us. Yep. We will create that reparations deal. All right, good. All right, so I see some I ams. I see a lot of yeses. That's what I'm talking about. Very good, very good. First step to becoming a millionaire is to act like one, and millionaires invest. So let me just start off with this then. So my brother, what do you, when you heard what I just said, that I said that I want all of our people invested, I want all of our people involved in the stock market. Do you agree with that statement, and why?
I think the stock market should be the foundation to all our wealth. It's the lowest barrier entry, when it comes to investing. I think, real estate is good, and you have so many different vehicles. For me, the stock market is important because the system has trained us to be consumers first, right? So the system trained us to be consumers first. So what happens is the easiest way for us to switch that idea, the easiest way to switch that mindset is to start owning the businesses that we consume with. Right. So now that's us playing offense instead of being defense. The stock market gives us that leverage early in the game, whether it's buying a company like AT&T for $29, right? If it's buying you a company like McDonald's for $200. Just saying, the places that we can go to early and often are places we can start at. And so next thing, it becomes this compound interest, the interest that your interest makes. No other asset vehicle compounds like the stock market, right? So for us, when you think about wealth building, and I want to add on to something you said the first step to becoming a billionaire is to act like one. I would say the first step is to start thinking like one, right? Mm-hmm. Start understanding that, I'm going to be a millionaire, right? It may not be right now, but in the future, that's my future. That's why I'll be it. And I think when we look at the stock market, this is something I've studied. The wealthiest people in the world, if you look at the top 5, 10 wealthiest people, literally 60 to 70% of their wealth is in stocks.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
We don't follow the blueprint, is already right there for us.
Yeah, well, I love that, man. I'm glad you started there, because you're right. The stock market, investing in the stock market is the number one factor that determines the wealth difference between the middle class and the rich people. Yeah. And so that's an excellent point that you make. And you're right. Thinking like a millionaire mindset, money mindset. Let's start with this because I want to ask you more stuff about the financial stuff, but I want to let's start with you. Mm-hmm. You have done great things in the world of Black wealth. That's how I see it. Now I know you're not just talking to Black people, but right. We all Black around here, right? And I know you get that. And you also had a unique background in terms of how you got involved in the stock market. When did the light switch hit for you? Because I saw a picture of you. I think you were on a pole, like you had climbed up and something. You were real high in the air,
Right.
years before. Tell us about that, and also talk about your journey in terms of how you really got into investing.
Cool. That's important. So, I'm from New Orleans, born and raised. Actually just moved. So just early on, I just was in the streets early, and I'm not just mean that like figurative, like literally. So my mom was in the street. She was a hustler. She did everything, and I actually saw my mom get shot when I was 9. So I was in it firsthand. Maybe 16, I went to prison for attempt murder on robbery. I wound up doing 10 years in prison, and that's where I got introduced to it at. I got in a fight with a couple homies of mine, and I wound up going to solitary confinement. It's crazy because I was literally in a cell with a white guy, and I guess he was just perplexed about the whole idea of seeing so many black men in one situation. And so I wound up getting in a cell with him, and he was just like, man, look, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I hope you don't take this wrong. He was like, man, y'all just playing the wrong game. And you never know the conversation he had in his mind to make him see that, you know, because in solitary confinement, it's kind of like where I was at. I was in Orleans Parish Prison, and it was called, the tier is called C1, so it's like 14 cells, 4 men in a cell, and we locked down all day. So you just hear a bunch of noise, and probably him, it just looked like chaos, more chaos and confusion. So, and I was like, man, you think what you talking about? The wrong game? Like, you think this a game? It's not a game right here. You know what I'm saying? It's real life. And I was like, and furthermore, like, if we playing the wrong game, you ain't here with me. So how I'm playing the wrong game? And so he told me something that was real profound. And that was really the seed that planted it to me. And he was just like, the issue is that you don't even know it's a game. Like, I know it's a game. So he was in prison. He did 18 months for embezzlement. He embezzled 2.8 million. He paid restitution 800,000, kept 2 million. So he's coming home to 2 million. I was in there for attempt murder. I'm doing 10 years. I know people's in there for drug charges, doing life. You know, just outland the numbers that you see on TV and hear about in these books. I'm sleeping next to these dudes every day. And it made me look like, damn, like, that's real. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just knocked me upside my head. And at a young age, I was, you know, he caught my attention. And so we just started having conversations all the time. And so over the next, I think, 22 days, he started telling me things. And one of the things he told me, he was like, wealthy people do 3 things, man. They stop trading time for money. They start making their money work for them. And they give an immense amount of value to people, because relationships are worth more than money. You give people so much value to where they'll always keep you in everything that they do. And I'm telling you, when he told me that, my mind, it was like, what? I had never heard nothing like that in my life. And it just took me it took me on. And so again, we just kept talking, having conversation. And then I'm talking about hours of conversation. We in a cell, we ain't got nothing else to do. And then another thing he told me was the 3 things that wealthy people do to build wealth and keep wealth is they invest in stocks, they build a business, and then they invest in real estate. And so because he told me stocks first, that was the first thing I ran with, because again, we talked in 1999 here, this before Instagram, Facebook, all of that. He's literally showing me pictures, Kodak pictures of him in different countries, doing different things with his family in places that I never knew existed. And one of the places that caught my mind, I always say on anything I do, he was in Iceland in this spot called the Blue Lagoon. And I remember them being outside in a pond with steam coming up, and there was water in the background. And I was like, where the hell in the world are there mountains where you outside in a pool, in a lake, and it's hot? And he was like, man, this is what wealth do for you. You can travel the world wherever you want to go, and you don't got to worry about ever coming back to work or none of that. And so because he told me stocks first, I spent the rest of my time in prison learning about stocks, the rest of it.
Wow. That's powerful, man. That's a powerful story. Well, everybody who just came in, I'm speaking with my brother Leon, aka the Wall Street Trapper, Leon Howard, and we're talking about a lot of stuff, and we're gonna get to a lot of things. But and I'll tell you, I'm so excited to talk to you, man. That I am my brain is spinning on all these things I want to ask you about, because your story is definitely interesting. I think a lot of people need to hear it, and you're right. A lot of our greatest black men, like anybody, I don't know, yes or no, give me a yes or no in the chat. If you have anybody in your family that's locked up now or has been locked up, say their name also. Say their name, because a lot of times they want you to forget these guys exist. And you got some of your smartest, most brilliant, most capable warriors that are locked up. And it's not coincidental. It's not an accident. Say their name in the chat so that we can make sure that we let them know that we remember them. And I fortunately didn't have to go, but I mean, you talk about just the chess you have to play as a black man to be successful and to survive is insane. Because my best friend, when I was about 25, my best friend, the day after I went to go see him, actually, he got shot in the head and killed in front of his daughter. And then also my father went to prison, my uncle went to prison, my little brother went to prison. So prison was everywhere. Prison spread worse than the coronavirus, in terms of what they were really trying to do to take our people down. And I want to ask you this, man. One thing I've read about is that the prisons in Louisiana are worse than the ones all around the United States. From what I've gathered, Louisiana, Texas, the slave states, they have the most black prison inmates, and they have the worst conditions. Can you talk about? I don't want to dig too deep in that, but because I don't want that to be uncomfortable for you. But tell us about that, and how did you survive that, and how did you heal from that?
I'm still healing. I just now got a therapist, man. Just dealing with a lot of stuff, that I went through, just being in the streets, and then just being a black man in America. So I'm still healing from that. But prison is definitely, I've only been in prison in Louisiana, right? But prison is a place, man, especially going at 16. It was a lot for me. Yeah, I went at 16. So I caught a 10-year bid. I was 16 years old. I was already in situations where I was, homeless before, sleeping in abandoned cars, sleeping in crack houses, going through that whole ordeal, just manning up in the world, being a man child already, then going to prison and then having to evolve and catch that fast. Because there are no prisoners. Like they don't care if you're 16, they don't care if you, however you here. So they treat you like a man. And so me having to just adapt to that fast, it was traumatizing, man. Like I done saw men get catch on fire. I done seen men get killed in prison. I done seen men get beat by guards in prison. I done been beat by guards in prison. I done been pepper sprayed, gassed down, like all of that. You know what I'm saying? So just having to always overcome that, it mentally does something from you. So coming home from prison, it took me at least 10 years to even just be able to start like switching my mind around, like, man, because a lot of stuff I was doing, I was still in that mindset, doing certain things, being ultra aggressive to everybody around me because that's all I knew. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't teach you how to cope and deal with none of that in prison. All it is, hey, you finished doing the time, go to the world and be functional. Like, how I'm supposed to do that? You know what I'm saying? Like, how that's supposed to happen? Nobody's not going to teach me this. I've been since I was 16. That can't happen like that. So I was just in survival mode for so long. So when I came home, it took me some time to even just get out of that mindset. And I still have, like I said, I still have things I'm dealing with and, issues that I have to deal with mentally. But, I just keep God first, man, keep moving forward, man. But yeah, prison is definitely, I'm going to be real, I don't wish that on nobody. Nobody. It ain't made to heal us. The human mind is not designed to be locked up like that. I remember going through a phase where I was locked in a cell for, I want to say 141 days. And where they was taking my mattress in the morning at 6 o'clock, and I wouldn't get it back till 6 o'clock at night. And they call that DDI. So you don't have no mattress all day. And then I remember another thing where I spent 99 days chopping down trees for 4 cents an hour. You know what I'm saying? Like literally chopping trees down. You know what I'm saying? So prison is definitely one of those places that's real. And then there's the component of just dealing with sleeping next to men who I got 10 years, but the man on side of me got 99. The man on this side of me got 240. The man across from me may have a life sentence. This man his mother just passed away. So you don't know what be going through those people's mind. It don't take much to, trigger somebody. Because once you feel like you lost so much, you feel like you don't got nothing to lose anyway. So it's a lot be going on in there that people don't talk about. It's definitely not, it's not a place that I wish on anybody. at all.
Well, I'm glad you shared that, man. I was I was hesitant to really want to even talk about it just because of what you're talking about. I mean, I mean, it's post traumatic stress disorder. That's what's going to happen.
Yep.
And I think that we have a country that doesn't have any sensitivity to that. Like when people are growing a little bit, like when brothers get shot by the cops, we make it we make a big deal about that, which is good. But I've been wanting people to go deeper down the rabbit hole. So let's not just talk about the guy that got killed. Let's talk about the guy who survived and what happened to him once he got sent away. And let me just tell you this. I'll lay out a personal story, and this is one of the reasons why I have so much respect for you. When I was growing up as a kid, I had a uncle that was like a brother. He was like an older brother for me. Like when I grew up, when I was a little newborn baby, changed my diapers, all that stuff. So I followed him around and everything else. And I remember him getting locked up and everything else. And it was, and I don't think people understand like just what that does also to the people that are connected to you, that care about you. Like, so he's my mentor. I'm looking up to him, and he goes away. I think he went away when I was about maybe 10 or 11, and he was maybe 18. And so I think they locked him up when he was 17. And again, that whole thing about putting a kid in a space with grown men. He went through that. And the thing with him was he wasn't as strong as you. Whatever he went through during that time, I mean, that just messed him up for life. Like literally for the next 25, 30 years, he wasn't, he didn't live anywhere for any certain amount of time. He was in and out of drugs, just trying to survive and maintain because his head was so gone. And eventually he died young. I don't even want to talk about his death because it makes me sad, man. But it was real tragic how he died. And I think that so the fact that you came back from that and you bounced back and went on to do great things, I think people should recognize that type of strength. That really speaks to not just your greatness, but also it speaks to the fact. I want everybody to understand that for every one Wall Street Trapper, for every one Leon, and your last name again. Give me your last name again, brother. I'm sorry. Howard. For every one Leon Howard, there's probably 500 other guys that could have been just as great, that you don't even know about, that you'll never meet, right? Who could be soldiers for the community that are gone, that they've taken away. Like, this is genocide. Yep. Like, they have committed genocide against you. Some of y'all don't even know that this happened. So let me just ask you this, man. Let's dive into the economics of it too. They make money when you were chopping down trees for 4 cents an hour. Yeah. They're making billions of dollars from this labor from our people, which is really slave labor. Can you kind of speak to that in terms of what your thoughts have been on that?
Oh man, they make so the prison enterprise is $1 billion industry, right? Multi-billion-dollar. And one of the things I will never invest in on the stock market is, like, people ask me all the time, like, I will never invest in a prison state ever. And they make it so many ways. Like, in different states they do different things, but in Louisiana, so I remember just being on, not even just chopping trees down, but I remember being on like the road crew. So we would have to get up in the morning. And go cut grass. Like, we would get on like the highways, up and down the highways. We would have to, get lawnmower. Some of us would cut grass. Some of us would pick up paper. We would go into the little small towns around there, do plumbing, do help the small businesses do stuff. And then, for us in prison, you're really not tripping on it because you get to go outside the gates. Right. So for you, it's like a field trip every day. But in reality, it's slave labor, man. And, they wrote that inside of the 13th, that they can do that. And it's hard, man. And even that alone is another type of, trauma, right? Because you're thinking, you excited to go outside to pick up paper, right? On the highways. And, you excited to do that because you get a break, you get a reprieve from being in there. And so they make, like, some of, even when it comes to the clothes we wear, some prisons literally make those. It's a thing called a garment factory. So I remember I was in one, before they shipped me to maximum security, I was in one prison where they made all the clothes that we wore, and they made clothes for other prison systems, right? And so they paid them, I think they paid those people like $1 an hour for that, to make shirts and jeans and boxes and shirt, called the garment factory, boots. So, it's a $1 billion industry, man, that they capitalize off, and they lock us, and they intentionally lock us away, and never expose us to the game. So for me, I remember when I was in prison, so I'll just put it out there. I remember in prison, I learned how to be a bookie, right? I learned how to be a bookie. That's how I made money. I learned how to get the USA Today and like put numbers together, just like somebody who go to the book. I learned how to do that. That's how I made money, because my family ain't do nothing for me while I was in prison, and I'm not mad at them. You know what I'm saying? But I just had to, you just got to figure it out, and I was just used to just figuring it out. And that's how I made money. And I remember, making my partners watch Wall Street, making them, and I used to have to get in there at like 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, because at 12 o'clock, between 11 and 2, they watch Guiding Light, Young and the Restless, Price is Right. So I would have to watch the stock market before they got to that. You know what I'm saying? And I remember them like, man, why are you watching that, man? You watch that every day, man. And in my mind, I was just like, man, these white people making a killing doing this. I need to learn this. Like, this what I need to learn, so I don't never come back here. But that's also easier said than done. You know what I'm saying? Because when you come back to society, everything is set up for you to come back. This road to me where I am now, to be honest with you, brother, like these 2-3 years that people see me now, the 10 years prior, I was back and forth to prison. I mean, jail. Like, I caught 2 more charges. I was blessed though. I got found not guilty in one charge, and my other charge went to the Supreme Court and got overturned. You know what I'm saying? Like, I still had to fight those battles, because the way the system is designed, the way it's designed for us to go back. Probation, parole, all of those are ways to get you back in to that system, because they know once we get you here, we got you. And it's hard for us to fight that. So that's why every day I smile, because I know how much of a blessing it is for me to now understand the game that's being played and say, I can save some people with this. So that was the whole birth of the Wall Street Trapper, for real. It was just me saying, I can teach people who from where I'm from, and I can show them this game, because if you from the streets, you know how to hustle. You know about risk tolerance. You know about supply and demand. You know about marketing. You can read those profit loss statements. You just don't know it, right? So for me, it was saying, let me show you how to understand the fundamentals of a company. You ran a trap house before? Let me show you that Walmart is a trap house. Let me show you that Amazon is a trap house. Let me show you that Microsoft is a trap house. Let me show you that these trap houses are no different than yours. They just legal. And if you want to talk about pharmaceuticals, let me show you how to read Johnson & Johnson's trap house. Let me show you how to read Moderna's trap house. It's all the same. So for me, it was like, let me switch this game to what I know and understand. And immediately it started making sense to me.
Wow. Everybody, I'm talking to the Wall Street Trapper. We are talking about all different kinds of topics related to Black people, wealth, success, overcoming, survival, and also thriving and flourishing. And we're going to dig deeper into that. If you could do me a favor, please hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. And also, I put a URL on the screen for Black Men United, blackmenunited.net. Me and Andre C. Hatchett created that organization for all the Black men that want to be successful and to know what it means to be a leader and to be economically, spiritually, psychologically successful, because we have to be ready for battle. So if you'd like to join, it's Black men only. Sorry, ladies, but if you'd like to join, visit blackmenunited.net. And I'm going to tell you, I think it's important that Black men, as you know, even though women, I'm glad the women are here. I want them to be a part of this, right? Because they've always been our backbone and we want to be their backbone. But I feel like Black men have to have certain conversations that we are in control of, right? We have to have certain conversations where we can really talk about the fact that all of us grow up with a target on our back. I believe everything is, when you talk about everything, you know, everything being a trap house, or being a game, right? I go back to, I think it starts before you're born. I think even abortion clinics are part of the trap, part of the game. You know, like, okay, let's make sure that this little son of a bitch is never born, right? So that way we don't have to deal with him, you know. So the Black man is like the baby Jesus. Like, when they know that we even coming, they're like, okay, let's go to the mama as quick as possible. Make sure that we try to talk her out of it. Now, don't get me wrong. If you're okay with abortion, I'm not judging that. This is not a political statement, but it is a political statement, but in a different way. You know, I know that when I was born, man, my father was 15, my mother was 16. And my father was gone before I even got here. And it's like, you know, my mother literally, I remember her telling me, like, she said, if there had been a place near my house that was giving free abortions, you wouldn't be here. you know, and it's just kind of like, and I think about that and I connect it to every other thing that I saw along the way in terms of just so many things that they do to make sure that the black man stays broken, ignorant, incarcerated, etc. The things they do to make sure that the alphas are eliminated. Right. That's where, that's where your police shootings will come from. That's where your mass incarceration comes from. All of that. All that's connected to making sure, because you need the alphas. Like you need the Wall Street trapper types that are going to lead the masses. I mean, you have over 400,000 people on your Instagram, right? So you're changing the world, which I think is beautiful, man. And it's like, I understand why they want to kill us, right? But it also helps me understand why we must be strategic in terms of being ready for that. And I think economics is a part of that. So can you talk about this in terms of your wealth and your economic strength as a tool and a weapon for your not just your prosperity, not just so you can have the house and the car you want, but really to protect your freedom? What do you think? Oh, I think you're muted. Let me unmute you.
By mistake. My bad. I pressed mistake. I think that's extremely important. More than the money, more than the car, more than anything, I think the most important thing for me is, and this is something that I preach. I don't preach so much as the materialistic things. I think whatever makes you free, whatever makes you happy, that's cool. But I think the most important thing is freedom. That's one of the things I do. Every investment that we make should be focused on not how much money I can make, but how much time that it buys me. And that's my focal point, like buying back our 24 hours. Because if you own your 24 hours at that point, now you can dictate the life and you can live the life and have that freedom to live the life that you want. Most of us will only exist. They'll never live. And the reason why you can't live is because you don't have enough money, right? Just being real, to own your 24 hours. So one of the things I say is, what is your freedom price? What is the cost? What is it going to cost for you to be free? Right. So don't think about what society has told us what wealth is. Like, don't think about what the TV and the rap game, and don't think about what that told us wealth is. What does it cost for you to be free? Right. And so for me, the stock market was that place. And for me, I always pose this question as well. The question to people was this: can you say I'm setting the next 2 generations up? Like, that's what I'm doing. My daughter right now, she's 5 years old. She right now, as today, has $200,000 in her UGMA account. But it's because me adamantly saying, when I was working that iron, when I was doing iron work, when I was building stadiums, when I was building power plants, I was investing 70% of my money, right? I was saying, okay, this month I'm gonna give my daughter $1,000. I don't care what I gotta do, right? I don't care how I gotta live. I don't care what I not gotta eat. I'm gonna work. I'm working my tail off. I'm gonna give my daughter $1,000 this month. If I got some extra, I'm gonna give her $2,000, and that made me feel good because in my mind, I'm buying her freedom. If I'm busting my tail, she ain't gonna have to bust her tail, right? And then not only that, in business we know about SOPs, right? Standard operating procedures. So what are those procedures that your generations can now follow to say, if my daddy couldn't give me the money, he left me a accurate blueprint on do this, do that, do this, do that. And I now know how to build the same way my dad know how to do. So now I've given a blueprint to the next 2 generations. Now what happens also is this: the information will continue to evolve, right? The game gonna continue to evolve. So now every generation gets the playbook and say, oh, I can add this play to the playbook. And then the next year, oh, I can add this play to the playbook. But it started with those SOPs that you laid down. So for me, that's what it's about, the investments. And I'm heavy on them. Just investing as much as I can, acquiring as much knowledge as I can, because the knowledge is the fertilizer to our wealth, right? The more knowledge you have, the more you can grow your wealth. And so I'm writing that down, documenting that, so every generation can now look at that and grow from what I did. And I think that should be, that's every family should do that. Every Black family for sure should do that, because we start out the gate behind the 8 ball, right? We start behind the gate inheriting debt instead of with assets, right? We inherit the scarcity mindset, right? I don't have enough money to do this, but I got enough money to pay the bills. I can't get you this, but I can pay the bills, right? And like, we inherit that mindset. We inherit, well, not to use credit, I don't want no credit card debt when these people leveraging the hell out of credit card debt. They leveraging debt so they can't leverage it no more. I listened to Grant Cardone the other day. He said, man, I'm 2 million, 2 billion. I love debt. You know what I'm saying? Not saying to get into that kind of debt, but just understanding how these people playing this game. And once we understand that, man, we can start leveraging that and start, again, putting ourselves in a position to be free. The slave will always admire the freeman because they don't feel like it's attainable. The field nigga gonna always say, damn, how you get to do that? Damn. But they saw the Django, they was like, how you get to ride on that horse? Damn, how you get to do that? Somebody gotta teach me that. You know what I'm saying? So that's me. Like I'm saying, yo, I'm gonna be the Django. I'm gonna teach us how to do it, but you ain't gotta, you know, envy me because I'm gonna give you the game. And you gotta take that now. And that's why conversations like this, people like you know, when I said, yo, you the OG, man. Like you was intricate in my journey because I remember seeing you talk your talk and being, and they might think it just being confident and being like, man, what y'all talking about? This is what we doing. You know what I'm saying? And that let me know, like, here's another black man, here's another king that ain't ashamed of being a smart person. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's one of the things too that hinder us as a culture. We think it's corny to be smart. Like, oh, yo, like it's dope to be smart. You know what I'm saying? So, man, definitely. And I hope I answered the question, brother.
Man, you answered the question very well. I'm just enjoying the conversation. Everybody who's listening, tell this brother how much you love him and respect what he's saying. You know, I want y'all to cheer for this brother because I tell you, man, first of all, thank you for the compliment. I receive it, and it's a dream come true for me because you know, when I got started, I did not see a lot of other people doing what I was doing. You know, and I said everybody should be doing this shit. You know, like what are we doing? What are we wasting our time with over here when we need to be over here where the power is? You know, where the freedom is. And you use that. I mean, that word freedom is real important because a lot of people make the mistake of thinking that freedom is all about, you know, having a private jet and a yacht and a limo. You know, freedom. It might start with just literally being able to choose what the fuck you want to do with your time when you wake up in the morning. You know what I mean? Like, you know, and because I was thinking about this, right? I was thinking about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, right? They always talk about that. In inalienable rights, everybody has life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. So we know what life is. You're just alive, but you talk about the difference between being alive and actually living, right? And then you talk about liberty. Well, liberty, you know, it's debatable, right? I guess we have a democracy. We have some liberty to some extent. Depends on whether or not you can afford the liberty. But then pursuit of happiness, I thought about that. And I'm real big on that freedom, happiness piece because that's deeper than just money, right? Money is a tool to help you attain those things. But there's a lot of people that got money that don't have either one of those things. They're not happy. They're not free. You know, sometimes money can make you a bigger slave. And then I said, shit, I really was thinking about, I said, the pursuit of happiness. That means if I'm here and happiness is over there, I got to go pursue it, right? Or if happiness is out in the forest, I got to go in the forest and hunt for happiness, right? So the ability for me to pursue happiness requires a couple of things. One, I got to just know what happiness even looks like. That's knowledge of self. Mm-hmm. Right, a lot of people don't even know what makes them happy. Like really, like some people you ask them, well, what makes you happy, or even something as basic as I remember one time. This is TMI, but I'm gonna tell y'all this. One time I remember asking a woman, I said, "So what makes you happy in the bedroom?" And she said, "You know, I never thought about that." And I said, "You never thought about that? Yeah. Like you don't even know, like you don't even know it. So you've been thinking so much about making other people happy that you don't know how to make yourself happy, right?" That right there to me is a mistake, right? So I talked to her about, you know, like, okay, let's figure it out, right? So my point is to say that a lot of you are so used to serving other people, and this really happens a lot with black women. Black women are, God bless all of y'all because you are the saviors to the earth. The Democratic Party's like, thank you, black women, you got us elected. You know, everybody's saying thank you to the black women. The black women are supporting us. Black women are saving America. This and that. Well, I think, and then if you go to the family level, I know a lot of black women who are saving everybody's life, doing everything for everybody except for themselves, right? That's why they have that high level of depression. That's why they are exhausted physically and mentally because they're taking care of the kids, they're taking care of the man, they're taking care of the pastor needs somebody to stay after church. What they're doing, all that, right? So I think that overall, and then generally as black people, because remember, we are former slaves, we are really good at making other people happy. But my question is, and this is really right in the heart of the B1 philosophy, is what is going to make you happy? Like, what is, what does happiness look like for you? What does freedom look like for our community? Then once you know what happiness is, then you say, okay, I know what happiness is. Happiness might mean having a couple of days off from work. Happiness might mean going on a vacation. Happiness might mean a nicer car. Well, then you got to go pursue that, right? Now, here's the thing. You can't go pursue happiness on a day-to-day basis if you're stuck at your fucking job, right? Because I don't know what happiness is for you, but for most of our people, happiness is not at that factory, right? So you can't pursue happiness because you don't even have the time to pursue happiness, because you don't even have the day-to-day freedom necessary to pursue your happiness. When I get up in the morning, first thing I do is I'm like, what do I feel like doing today, right? It might mean eating my favorite food. It might mean going to give my woman a kiss. It might mean going to the movies, right? If I have freedom, I can pursue those things. But if I have no freedom, it's like, yeah, I know what will make me happy, but I got to go to work. So being able to quit that job is a big deal. And you did a real good interview. I think it was a show called 85 South or something like that.
Show, yeah.
And then I also saw when you were talking to Master P. Talk about that happiness piece and just the job piece in terms of how important it is, especially for Black men. I believe, and again, I believe it's true for all Black people, but especially for Black men, I think we really have to really fight that job mentality, because I don't think that America is built for Black men to have the best jobs. It's only built to make you a better slave. Can you speak on that?
Yeah, hell yeah, I can speak on that. Hell yeah, I can speak on that. And so what I did when I came home, I just think for the Black man, America is just labor intense for us, right? Like that's all they think we are able to do. And so that's why they, put us in position to do that. And they teach us that go be a carpenter, go be a plumber. You know what I'm saying? You even saw it in the Malcolm X movie. Like, nah, you can't be a carpenter, a plumber. You can't be a doctor. You can't, fly a jet. You got to be a carpenter, a plumber, or something like that. So for me, I was an iron worker. Building stadiums, building power plants all over the world. Built the Falcon Stadium, build power plants everywhere down the golf course. Working 10, 12, 16, 18 hours a day, 6, 7 days a week. And for me, I would still get off of work and find ways to go get in the street. Because I was a hustler by heart. And I always used to tell myself, like, man, this ain't me. But right now, this was, keeping me all the way out the street, but this ain't me. And it happens to come to a mindset because, they tell us that in jail, they teach you how to get out of here and go get a good job, right? They not teach you how to be an entrepreneur. In school, they teach you how you finish the 12th grade, go to school for some more years. But if you can't go to school for some more years, get you a trade and go work this hard paying job, and by the time you 65, you broken up, you beaten down. And I remember, one of the ways I used to try to always get my time back when I was working, I used to say, like, I ain't got to tell them when I'm going to take off. I'm going to just take off. And if they don't like it, they fire me. Right. And that's always been my mindset. Cause I try to get a sense of control. Like, man, y'all don't control me, man. And that was another reason why I was saving so much of my money, investing so much of my money, because I didn't want them to have leverage over me. Where saying, I can't go see my daughter. I can't take off because I got to work. Right. Because they're going to give you enough. And here's the thing. You will never, ever, ever, they will never put you in a position where you can be better than them, right? You can't expect freedom if you got to keep asking them for money. You feel me? The bank not going to give you money to be its competitor. You know what I'm saying? Your boss ain't going to give you enough money to create a job for yourself. They're going to give you enough to go pay them bills, right? And come back to work. So you got to start saying, all right, what a sacrifice come at in my life, right? I got to sacrifice something because I know they just going to give me enough. So for me, it was like, all right. And I remember one day they was like, yo, you got to cut your beard off. And I was like, I haven't had a beard since 2002. I'm not about to cut this. They're like, well, if you don't cut the beard off, then, we going to have to fire you. I was like, man, go get my stuff. They was like, what? Like, they was like, what you mean? I was like, yo, go get my locker, go get all my stuff. I'm cool. And it was like, so you really not gonna cut your hair? I was like, nope. It was like, so you about to turn down $2,500 a week because you don't want to cut your hair? I'm like, man, stop talking to me. Go get my box, man. And I'm gone. Man, go get my box, man. I'm gone, man. You tripping. And at that moment, I knew like that was it for me. I'm gonna say this. There's two things I think all Black men especially should do. One, move away from your city. Move, even if it's not forever, move away from your city to get out that comfort zone. Like when you get in that zone where you got to depend on you, like you gonna get it. You're gonna be scared in the beginning, but you gonna go get it because you forced. And the second thing is find something in this world that you're willing to go all in on. Find something in this world that you're willing to say, I'm willing to risk it all on. You know what I'm saying? And for me, you know, building my brand, building my business, I started this with 2 ebooks, a $10 ebook and a $12 ebook. You know what I'm saying? At the time, I probably had 2,000 followers on Instagram, right? But it was something I believed in. And I was saying, you know what? I'm going to quit this job and I'm going to go all in on this vision. I know it ain't going to be easy, but if I never commit to something that's going to make me happy, how do I know what my potential is, right? And I think that's 2 things. And I moved to Atlanta, and you know, it was a journey, but I committed to it. So I think there's 2 things everybody should do is move away from your hometown because it gets you out the comfort zone. Because what happens is while you're in your comfort zone, you already know, well, I can fall back on this. What if you don't have nothing to fall back on? All you got to fall back on is you. When the mindset is either I'm a win or I'm a win. There ain't no lose. Either I'm a win or I'm a win. Like, and I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna do it. I remember I told myself I'm gonna max every credit card. I'm gonna do anything not to go back to that job. You know what I'm saying? So, and I think that needs to happen because once you click, how can you tell somebody else how to be free if you never experienced it?
Wow. Everybody who's listening, this brother giving this powerful testimony is the Wall Street Trapper. And he's been on an amazing journey. He's done amazing things. And you should definitely follow him on Instagram. Look him up on social media. This brother is really good at what he does. And also, if you could take 1 second, please hit the thumbs up button. Please hit the thumbs up button. We're trying to build Black media here. We need your help. So please hit the thumbs up, share, subscribe button. Also, for every young person in here that wants advice, earlier he referred to me as the OG. I gladly accept that role. I'm glad to be Uncle Boyce, whatever I can do to help. So in my OG status, there's a life class I have. It used to cost money. Now it's totally free. You can join for life for free. It's called Black Keys to Greatness. The URL's on the screen, blackkeystogreatness.com. And that's literally where it's all about life, how to be successful in life, because success is a mentality. And this is where I'm going to flip it back to you. You know, what you're talking about is, you're talking about things that only certain people can really relate to immediately in terms of when I was talking about that alpha culture, that leader culture, right? That strength culture, which I think this is what makes men. For example, when you and I were talking, I think I talked your ear off, man, because I started talking. I got to talking about World War II, the World War II documentaries I watched. I learned so much from watching that because I'm watching these, and I literally, it's real weird. It's like that and football. Those are the 2 things. My mother said when I was 3 years old, she would put me in front of the TV and I would watch football all day long. And to this day, like I'll use football analogies because I see life like that. When you talk about life being a game, I think about football, I think about war, things like that. And the thing about war that was really fascinating to me is I saw, hundreds of thousands of young men getting on these ships, going out, thousands of miles across the sea, where you got submarines coming around that could take you out. And I said, I can't even imagine, having your ship get blown up and you fall in the water and you're in the fucking Atlantic Ocean in the middle of nowhere. There's no land within thousands of miles. You know what I mean? Like that. What does it take for a man? What does a man have to believe in to do something like that, to put it on the line like that? And so I thought about that when you were thinking about every man deciding what is it that you're willing to put everything on the line for. Like, what are you willing to die for? Because when you talk about freedom, there is not a single country on earth in the history of this world that has had freedom that did not have to fight for it,
Yep.
and did not have to be willing to die to defend it, right? And so when you flip that, when you compare that to the slave culture that they feed to you, right? That's why black people that won't even put nothing on, they're scared to even lose a job, right? And I'm not job shaming. I'm making fun of people that want to keep their job, but like we'll let anything go because we're trying to protect a little bit of money, or we don't want we don't want master to get mad at us or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, I think that I relate more to what you said, and I don't know if everybody relates to this. I'm talking to the real warriors out here, the people that really get what I'm saying. Is that you have to have a point where you just say, you know what? That's it. This is where I draw the line. I will put it on the line. And like when they told you, when they challenged you, right? When it was time for you, when they were telling you to sit down, you stood up. You said, no, I'm out. I'm gone. And that requires a certain kind of mindset, because if you had been raised as a different kind of person, or if you had a different build, you would have folded to that. That beard would have been gone. And people don't understand that that's a symbolic kind of emasculation that they do to a lot of our men. And that's one of the reasons our community is not yet winning. So I agree with everything you just said. So I'm going to ask you this question. Let's go to what you were discussing in terms of what the guy told you when you were locked up. You said there were three things. You said stop exchanging time for money, make your money work for you, and relationships.
Yeah.
So we kind of hit on the first two. I want to talk about that last part. Let me tell everybody this who's listening. When I talk to this brother, when I meet new people, I don't know what to expect. You know what I mean? Some people you meet, they all crazy and they talk, egomaniacs, predators. But then sometimes I meet somebody like yourself, and another guy from New Orleans that I just love to death. One of my best buddies on earth, D1. You and I both know D. One of the things I can say, and I want everybody to pay attention to this, is that you and D, one thing that y'all both have in common, besides being from New Orleans, is relationships. Y'all know how to really maintain good relationships with people. Like when we talk, your energy was really good. It was really favorable. You were showing respect and love and everything. I was like, oh, well, how do you not respond positively to something like that? Can you speak on that? I know that's not just a coincidence, right? You maintain, I could tell you maintain relationships in a productive way, because that is a good strategy for life and for success. Can you speak on that?
Yeah, so for me, relationships are huge. Again, that was one of the three things that he told me in the cell. And I put it back into this essence, and I hope nobody don't take offense to this, but when I was in the streets, the only way I was able to go to other people's hood and hustle and go pick up my packages, I had to build a relationship with one of the OGs in that hood, or whoever the big dog was, or with somebody who was making moves in that neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? So I was able to, build a relationship, whether it was, man, look, what I can do for you, how I can bring value to you, what I can do for you, on my end. I'm doing this, let's swap out something. Whatever I can do to build that relationship in the streets, that's how I was able to move forward. So when they got to this point, I knew personally, I don't know nobody. Right. And so I was like, all right, let me build relationships. I built a relationship with my brothers from Earning Leisure. I built a relationship with D1. And those relationships put me in the room with Master P. Those relationships put me in the room on the 85 South show. This relationship here, I met Maurice Duckett, right, from New Orleans. Me and him built a relationship. He was like, yo, I know Boyce, man. I would love to get you and Boyce together. I'm like, what? That's the OG. Let's make that happen. That's another relationship. And going into relationships, not saying what can that relationship do for me, but going in a relationship saying, how can I just nurture and foster the relationships? I text people nowadays, like, yo, man, I'm just sending some energy to you. I'm just sending some light to you, man. Hoping everything good with you, man. I don't really want too much. You ain't even got to call me. I'm just telling you what's good. I'm just telling you, I'm moving. I know you moving. I just want to check on you. And what happens is when you somebody that's moving all of the time, you always wind up being a doer. And nobody don't check on you. So for me, it's because I'm always a doer. Man, let me check on that person. Let me build with that person. I don't really want nothing, but I know one thing. Damn, man, Trap hit me up today. Man, that speak volumes. You know what I'm saying? I did it to you. Hey, how you doing? OG, what you doing? I don't even want nothing. I just want to call you, make sure you good. You all right over there? All right, cool. We ain't got to talk too much. We don't got to talk long. Just 5-10 minutes, check on you. We do get long. It's cool. But that shows a lot about you as a person, because it says, I don't want nothing from you. And we so used to people wanting something from us. What's that angle? What's their leverage? Man, what they nah, I don't want nothing from you. I'm just checking on you. In our human nature, we want to be appreciated. We want somebody to say, man, I was just thinking about you. We want that. I don't care what you've been through in life, what you've been through, you want that. So, and you never find it, or you rarely find it. So when you find people like that, you like, damn, I don't mind talking to them. And so now what happens is you may be doing something, you may be in a conversation, you be like, you know what? I know the perfect person you can talk to. I got a friend of mine named Wall Street Travel. I'm gonna make that happen.
There you go.
That's how it happened.
Well, I love that, man. You know, because that's consistent with George Frazier, who's one of the best networkers I've ever met. You know, he wrote a book called "Success Runs in Our Race," and that book is required reading at every HBCU in America. And basically, one of the first things I remember he taught me about networking with people is what you said. It's real simple, but it's very, very important. Which is, you know, don't show up with your hand out. You know, there's conversation like, can you do this? Can you do that? Like, if your hand is out, offer something. You hold your hand out to offer something. Don't you know, because they're used to certain people that you want to get close to. They're used to people asking for stuff. So when you show up and you offer something, they're like, oh, okay, well, thank you. And then the law of reciprocity kicks in, right? Because you did something for me, I'm gonna do something for you. Yep. You know, and I think that and so I want everybody to kind of hear that when I, because I've been talking to the people on the platform about that, man, for a while, to say that relationships are everything. Like, it's not just, you know, because they wonder, like, well, why are you talking about relationships? Because my fiance is a relationship therapist. So we'll come in, we'll talk about, you know, romantic relationships, friendships, all that stuff. And people don't understand that. And I say, no, you don't understand. If you maintain the right relationships, you can be successful. But because so many of our people have been traumatized and are dealing with stuff, you know, because I mean, I've been hurt by some black people. We all have, right? Anybody in the chat who's ever been hurt by a black person, raise your hand. There's a lot of black on black stuff going on in our community, and it can make you like this, like get away from me, like what you want, like what are you trying to do, you know? And that's not the way to make things happen. That's an economic principle. The more closed off you are and isolationist you are, the less prosperous you will be. So let's go to an abundance mindset. So I'm going to ask you the last question, man. So you and I were talking a little bit about what was going on with the markets with GameStop, and I'm sure you follow what was going on with cannabis and Tilray and Wall Street bets and all that stuff. Tell us about your view on just all that stuff that was going on, how you played that. You made some strong moves on the GameStop stock. I know I did. I invested in there as well. What are your thoughts on all of that, and sort of what were you seeing at that time?
So I remember when we talked about it and you was like, damn, I ain't never think about it like that. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I'm a fundamental investor. Like, I'm not heavy on reading charts. I'm not heavy on, you know, trends like that. I want to know, how does the company operate? How do they make money? How much are their overall assets worth? And what is their plan to grow? Right? So when you look at a company like GameStop, whose business model has been decaying over the last few years, right? The business model has been decaying. And then when you ask yourself, just a few months ago, they were on verge of going chapter 11 or chapter 7. They were trying to decide which way they was going to go. There's no way possible that a company can be worth $40 and then in 10 days be worth $400, right? And so much as the news media said this is retail investors, which are you and I, me just understanding how the market works, it takes billions of dollars to move a stock 500% in general, but in 10 days, no retail investors can do that. It's impossible. And now it's coming out that it was people behind the scenes, right? And you know, it's coming out now. And so in my mind, I said, okay, this is a classic. Let's get in this stock because we know it's about to die, but then we'll run it up right quick. And if we can run it up and then get retail investors, because Wall Street never loses. These people have been playing these games for years and generations. The same thing has keep happening. right? But it happens, and new people get caught up because they don't know the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you see this stock run up, so they're like, all right, cool, we run the stock up. And I remember investment firms, one of them I know for sure, I can't think of it, Scion Asset Management bought $15 million worth of GameStop at $4 a share in April. Two other big hedge funds, Blackstone and I forgot the other one, they bought about $13 million in October and December. At the time, it didn't make no sense. You know, like, why are you buying GameStop? But here we are in January, February, and now it makes sense, right? So they push the stock up. And then what happens is the retail investors, because we don't have a strategy, because you don't have a game plan, because you don't, you getting in the game and you getting into the game on some quick money instead of building wealth, it's easy for me to throw that carrot in front of you and make you snatch on it. A $40 stock, you buy that $200, and because you see it running up, you think it's gonna go to $1,000. In your mind, it ain't gonna never stop running.
Yep.
You gotta get in right there. With me, I'm sitting back like, okay, at what point do I feel that this is way overvalued? And in my mind, I was like, it's at $400. This don't make no goddamn sense right here, right? Mm-hmm. So I took a couple $1,000 and I said, okay, I'll buy a put option on it. A put option is when you saying the stock is going to fall. I'm betting that the stock is going to come down. I put a $9 put option on it because in my mind, the stock was only worth about $12 at best. And it was luck involved because the next day it started tumbling, right? And then so what I did was most people would try to ride it all the way down. I simply said, and this is important that people need to know, one of the most important things about investing in the market is understanding how liquid a company is. It's called liquidity. How easy can a stock turn into cash, right? And what you got to understand is there's always somebody on the other side that has to buy that stock from you. Somebody you can't just put it out there and it's in the market. Somebody has to buy it from you, right? So now with options, it get a little tricky because somebody now has to buy it at the price that you're willing to sell it for now, right? So as this stock came down, I got off it fast because I said, once it starts falling, it's going to fall hard. And once it starts falling that hard, people now say, well, I don't want no parts of it now. And the only people left is the people holding the bag. So I still wanted to get out of it while they had people still believing that it was going to run back up, right? So I said, okay, I'll sell my contracts back to the market. Somebody bought them, but I lost a little bit of it because I was supposed to cash out at 38. By the time I sold it, it wound up being about 28, 29. So I lost some of it, right? Because it wasn't willing to pay what I wanted for. So I had to like, okay, bring it down a little bit more, bring it down a little bit more. And I was able to get out of it. Now, people are just sitting there holding that bag. It'll never get back to 300, 200. It'll never get back there because the big people gone. They go to the next. So now you just sitting there holding this bag, and now you got to take that loss. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I like what I like the way you mentioned that it wasn't what it appeared to be in the media. And when you're talking about these big hedge funds being involved, they do find a way to make their money. I think my favorite line of what you just said was when you said Wall Street never loses.
Yeah,
it doesn't. And the GameStop thing, a lot of people are gonna get hurt. It's just one of those things where if you know what's going on and you know how to manage that, and you know what you're putting at risk, then jump in, have fun, go get money, because money literally was being thrown out in the street. Like literally, it was free money. And I know a lot of people who made money, but I know a lot of people who lost money. So it'll be interesting to see how that all plays out. So everybody, be careful about those pump and dumps. That'll mess you up. So all right, man. Well, you know what? I have been blessed with an hour of this brother's time, and so I hope everybody in here will give a digital round of applause to the Wall Street Trapper. Everybody, tell his brother how much you respect him, how much you love him. Where can people follow you online?
So man, first let me say thank you for having me. Again, shout out to the brother Maurice Duckett, man. I appreciate that. But you can find me at Wall_Street_Trapper. That's on Instagram. Wall_Street_Trapper. street_trapper. I think right now we have like 470,000 people in the community. And you can also catch me on YouTube, Wall Street Trapper. I put out about 3-4 pieces of content a week. So definitely, man, check that out. Also, I did a few interviews. One of my best ones is on Earn Your Leisure and the 85 South Show. So, and now Boyce Watkins for sure. Now I can put that on my list. But I appreciate everybody that come check me out, man. We just giving out a lot of game over there.
Yeah, so I'm actually sharing my screen so y'all can see his Instagram. Is real active. I follow you on Instagram. I love it. I think it's great. And what I really like about what you're doing, man, is I see this as war. This is a competition. This is a revolution. Economics. It's everything that you saw in the Super Bowl. That's what's happening right now with economics and black wealth right now. I think black men are going to eventually dominate this game. Black women are already black women are already showing it, but and black women, they're leading in education, they're leading in entrepreneurship, they're all investing in the stock market. Black men are right there with them. And I think that this is really where we're going to make our power play. Like this is where we go get our reparations. And one of the things I was explaining today is I always come with these weird ways of thinking about stuff. So I was watching that Super Bowl, and you saw what happened with Patrick Mahomes when he didn't really have a good offensive line, right? Mm-hmm. And they just ate him up. Right? He got pressured, 29 times. It was a Super Bowl record. He couldn't, he couldn't do nothing right. No. Right? And it wasn't because he suddenly lost his talent. It's because he didn't have anybody blocking for him. He didn't have an offensive line. So when I think about the black man trying to get through this world, trying to be successful in life, and trying to score touchdowns, so to speak, when you don't have wealth and assets and knowledge to protect you, it really is like trying to score touchdowns when you have no offensive line. It's like the Chiefs trying to win where you got no offensive line and you got no defense. So the white man scoring on you on every play, and every time you get the ball, you're getting sacked 20 yards behind the line of scrimmage. So I don't want our guys to get sacked. So everybody that's watching, I want you to understand that the assets that you buy, when you're buying that stock, that's how you're building up your defense. When you go and you invest in real estate, you're building up your defense. When you are giving yourself financial literacy, that is self-defense. Mm-hmm. And that's how you protect yourself from oppression. That's how you give yourself freedom. That's how you avoid slavery. So do not allow them to they haven't given you your reparations for slavery, but y'all know they give you your preparations for slavery every single day of the week. So don't let them prepare you for slavery. So I want to say thank you, man. Thank you very much to the Wall Street Trapper. Thank you guys. Thank you everybody for watching. Make sure you subscribe, especially those of you watching on the Black Boss channel. I actually want to have, I don't know if you know about the Black Boss channel or not, Trap, but that's where basically we got a bunch of black men that talk about everything from sports to stocks to relationships to politics. And it's all from a black male perspective. Yeah. So I love it, man. Maybe with some of your content, if you want to send over some stuff, I think the guys would love to, to hear your perspective. So if you're good with that, maybe we could talk about that later.
Yeah, for sure, man. Anything I could do, King, anything I can do to add value to your help, what you got going on, man, I'm down for it 100%.
All right. Well, it's vice versa. So we do a content trade. Anything, any content that I have anywhere, if you want to use it, just take it. Because we're all in this battle together and we will win. Black people do not lose. So God bless everybody. Thank you all for listening. Yeah. And you have a good day. We'll see you soon.